to talk about my mom being in my head, I'll never forget. I went to China and did shows. Okay,
Really?
I did shows in China.
How was it?
Interesting. It was a club, basically for expats. Like it was like, and there's a weird vibe for people that move to China. The type of dude that moves to China, you're like, you've really taken I'm into Chinese women to a new level.
There's that suspicion right up front.
Right up front.
We had, in my 82nd Airborne unit, one of our platoon leaders, every time we got leave, he went to like Thailand or some shit. And we were all like, come on, bro.
They all had that same shaky vibe.
Yeah. And then 4 years later, he's married to a Vietnamese woman.
Of course, and good for him, you know.
Like
I got a buddy.
He leaned into it
from Ohio State who's teaching English over there, and it's like, man,
There's
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
But how bad is it to be the one guy that just enjoys Chinese culture that's not into that at all?
Right.
Because everybody just thinks you're a fucking creep.
Right. They do. There's a creepy vibe to the white dudes there, and then you have like. But it was a fun, the comedy club. Basically, some guy saw me in New York, and he was like, "Want to come to China and do shows?" I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I remember going there, and
were you performing with other people, like other comedians?
Yeah, was it just you?
There were openers. Yeah. I remember they put my face on a poster as if that was going to help sell tickets.
No, they should have put Chris Rock next to you.
Right.
Or not Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, excuse me.
Yeah, right.
Or Starberry.
Yeah. Right. So I remember I got an email from a college friend of mine going, dude, and it was a forwarded email. He had been emailed by someone else we went to college with, and the guy was like, yo, is Freed a comedian?
In China?
And is he coming to China? And it was a picture of my picture on the corner of a street in Shanghai. And I was like, this is hilarious. And
I made it, Mom.
Right. So then I go there and they tell me, and I'm like, the guy who brought me there is this Australian guy who's now like, I think he's head of comedy somewhere, but he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, I'll meet you at the airport on this day. You're going to come. And I think it was all kind of under the table. Like, I don't think you're allowed to just have a comedy club in China.
No.
Probably not allowed.
And you're probably not allowed to talk about...
well, they said, don't talk about the government.
That's it, yeah.
And you can't... And I was like, can I mention Facebook? They're like, yeah, they know what Facebook is. You can talk about it, but they're just not allowed to have Facebook. But then everyone had VPN. So everyone had everything, but you didn't have everything. So... It's this weird it was like everything in China was like a workaround that could get shut down any day.
Yeah.
That was kind of the vibe. And then I'll never forget it. I get there and it's that area where all the people are standing with the signs. Yep. And I'm looking for my name on a sign or the guy. I don't know. I'm like, because it's this like shim sham operation. And I go and so I remember it was like.
Some guy with a ponytail picture of you, like, fuck,
dude.
Man. Are you kidding me?
I start walking back and forth. It's 50 yards of people with signs. Jesus so I'm looking for my name and I'm looking and there's no one there. And I'm like, I'm freaking out, I'm like, what the fuck is like, where's this guy? What's going on? I can't use my phone. And all I have is a screenshot of the address to show. So all of a sudden, I'm walking back and forth. It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This guy goes, hey, you need a ride? And I look over, and it's this Chinese guy. Yeah. And he speaks no accent. He's like, hey, man, you need a ride? Where are you from? And I'm like, what? Like, I was like, do
you think he was doing a bit, or was he like an expat that was like
he goes, you need a ride? He goes, I go, yeah, I'm looking for a ride to the hotel. He goes, yeah, come on. I'm a car service. I go, how do you speak English? And he goes, we speak English here. And he goes, but I go, you sound like you're from New York. He goes, I lived there for years. He goes, come in my car. And I go, no, I'm good. And I walk back the other way. Come back again. Hey, man, I'm still here. He starts like heckling me. He's going, still here, still waiting. Come on, man. And I go, no, I'm good. I go back the other way. Come back again. Hey, man, you still waiting?
But do you think you're getting raped at this point? Like, why didn't you get in the car?
So then I go, okay, fine. You're right. I'm going to stop being such a wuss. So I go with him, and he goes, come on, what are you talking about? Come on. But you're in a far-off land, like whatever. He takes my bag. He starts going. He goes, yeah, I used to live in Queens. Oh, man, I'm back here now. I go, my family. He's going on and on. In my head is my Jewish mother just going, you just go with anybody? You're just going to go with anybody that speaks English? You're just going to walk away with anybody? You're just not going to go? And I start freaking out, and I go, dude, I got to go. Take the bag out of his hand. I go downstairs to a taxi stand, and I wait in line because I'm like, at least it says taxi. At least my mom wouldn't yell at me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally doing things so I'd have an explanation for my mom. Get in a cab, and you can't, when you get in a cab, what do? You use Google Maps to make sure they're going the right way.
Right.
There's no Google Maps.
No.
I don't have any internet service, nothing. I'm like, I'm going to be sold into the sex trade. I'm too hot to take a cab in China. And I'm like, and I'm in this ride, and then we drop off at the hotel, and I message the guy, and he's like, oh, I thought you were coming in tomorrow. I was like, dude, that was the scariest moment of my life. And
So you got there safely and you were unraped.
I'm here now to tell a tale.
I understand
You didn't answer the
that, but you
question.
didn't answer
No.
the question. Yeah, were you unraped or
He's
no?
a beautiful lover.
You know
He
what?
hugged me while he poked me, just like the men in Columbus.
The funniest thing about that story to me
Short
is
north.
Short north.
that dude is out there telling the inverse of this story.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally right.
I want to hear that story.
Right. This guy,
Same.
this Jew freaked out. He started talking about his mom.